Hi friends, welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another episode of the Agora models of British SAS Jeep. Let's get started. Welcome back to the studio. This is Steve, and I am back with another installment of the Agora models. Build the British SAS Willy's Jeep. I'm working on pack 8, stages 54 through 62. 8 more stages here. And as I go along in this video, I will show you the parts packs that are contained, but I must say the packaging of this is fantastic here. We did receive the main body of the Jeep over here on the left side, and then all the parts for this pack. Remember, you need to go to the Agora models website and download the build instructions there, which are highly illustrated and very detailed in context. In this video, I will complete stage 54, the body, stage 55, fitting the pedals and assembling the Vickers K machine gun, part 1, stage 56, fitting the pedals and assembling the Vickers K machine gun, part 2, stage 57, fitting the air cleaner and pan magazine, stage 58, fitting the machine gun mount and inserting cartridges, stage 59, adding fixtures to the dashboard, stage 60, fitting the glove box, stage 61, fitting the dashboard, stage 62, fitting the battery compartment and power switch. Let's get started on stage 54. Stage 54 is the main body, which is neatly packaged in this eco-friendly packaging here. And you can see here, main body. Looks great. Painted in the desert tan from the North African campaign. Very nice here. And we're going to be adding to this in this video, so stay tuned for that. So that's all I do for stage 54. Let's move to stage 55. Stage 55, fitting the pedals and assembling the Vickers K machine gun, part 1. First part are the pedals, and the second part are the Vickers machine gun parts. Now, these are the parts for the pedal. Please note that we have 2 different springs here. We have the smaller spring, which will be mounted to this component here, and the larger spring goes on the pedal itself. All these parts here are plastic. We have GP, AP, and DM screws for that. Let's look at the parts for the Vickers machine gun. Here's a close-up of those parts. We have the barrel, the main body of the gun, the stock, and some of the other smaller components, CP, MP, and RP screws. Let's get started. And bring over the floor and firewall section. We're going to be adding the pedals to that up front here. We'll start with the gas pedal. Here's the parts for that. We're going to install this bracket onto the bottom of the gas pedal like that with 2 AP screws. In preparation, before I put those screws in on this, I went ahead and I sanded off the paint on the sides here, both sides of the pedal, and also on the bracket on the inside. I took the paint off. That way I have better movement on this bracket here. Both AP screws were put in, left it loose enough so we have good movement here. Next, we received two different size springs in this stage. We're going to use a smaller one here. You're going to insert that on the end, just like that. Now we're ready to install this on the firewall. Take our accelerator pedal and we're going to mount that there and through that hole right there. And on the other side of the firewall, we're going to install two GP screws, one right here and one right there. And the other one right here. These screws have a flange on them. It's good there. Allows the gas pedal to move in and out. You can see that there. Looks good. Next, on the back of the firewall, we're going to install this bracket here, and we want it facing downward like it is in my hand, up against that point right there. Okay. A DM screw will go into that. And that bracket is installed tight with the DM screw, and you can see how it faces. That is for our brake pedal. Next, I'm going to install the larger spring on the brake pedal, and that's just going to go over the top here and up just like that. Next, we'll take the brake pedal here. We're going to insert it into that slot beside the accelerator pedal, just like that. And then on the other side, it's going to mount just like that on that bracket. There's a hole closest to the firewall that goes into. And a CP screw was used for that. Be sure not to over tighten it so that way the brake pedal still moves. Just like that. Now let's work on the Vickers machine gun. Here's the parts for the Vickers machine gun. We're going to assemble this barrel onto the main body just like that. See how that looks? And we're going to put a DM screw in from this side here. And I used a little bit of oil on that DM screw. Looks good. Next, I'm going to install this bracket on the end of the machine gun. I did take a X-Acto blade and I cleaned out the hole just a little bit, and it's a press fit in place. Just like that. If you wanted to glue that with super glue, you could. Looks good. Next, we're going to put this assembly together here. And you can see highly detailed here. Very nice. This bracket here is going to insert just like that. You have a pilot hole that pin goes into, and then an MP screw goes into that. And that is a recess screw going into plastic, so don't over tighten it. And that's what that looks like there. Looks good. Next, we're going to install this bracket here, just like that, on those two tabs with these very tiny RP screws. Little fiddly here, but not bad. There we go. Looks good. And that is so that can rotate. Loosen it up just a little bit here. And that's good. Next, we're going to mount this bracket to the bottom of the gun here. It's going to press fit on these two tabs here. We need to take and extend this bracket out. Now, it only goes on one way, and you want it to fit just like that. You can see there's a narrow side here and a longer side, so we'll press fit that all down just like that. You could glue it, but you don't need to because it's going to get sandwiched a little bit later. And then we'll wrap this around and lock it in place just like that. And that's how that looks there. But like I said, it will get sandwiched in place a little bit later. But that's how that looks. Looks pretty cool. And that completes stage 55. Let's get started on stage 56. Stage 56, I'll assemble the clutch pedal and part 2 of the Vickers machine gun build. And here's a close-up of those parts. Here's our clutch pedal components and our Vickers machine gun parts, SM, DM, and CP screws. And a close-up of those parts. Next we're going to install this bracket here for the clutch, and that's going to go on that top hole right there with a DM screw. And that's what that looks like there. And again, insert our spring on the clutch pedal all the way up on the end, just like that. And clutch pedal will go into that slot right there, just like that, and get mounted to that bracket we just put in. And a CP screw was used for that. Be sure not to over tighten it so that way the clutch pedal moves like it should. Good. Next we'll work on our Vickers machine gun. We're going to put this pad like we did before, press fit in place. I did clean out those holes a little bit with my X-Acto blade. Press fit in place, just like that. Next goes this cocking handle, and it's going to go into that slot right there. And that's just a press fit there. Next I brought over the other side of the Vickers gun that we assembled in the previous stage, and we're going to install this gun sight. Just like that. Next we'll bring over this barrel here. That's going to insert into that tab right there and slot in on our gun. Just like that. Now we'll bring over our other half of the machine gun, and we're going to sandwich all those parts together here, just like that. And 2 SM screws will hold that together. Both screws were put in with a little bit of 3-in-1 oil, one right here and one right there. Looks good. Next we have to install this pin right here into that slot on the top of the gun, and it will slide in. It's a press fit. Just like that. Turn the gun around And we're going to put a smaller pin. You can see that. We're going to put a smaller pin right into that right there. And you can just see that pin there. I did clean out the hole a little bit with an X-Acto blade, and that should just slide in. Just like that. Next, I'm going to install this gun sight here into the top of the gun here. There's a hole right there. Once again, a press fit. Just like that. And you may want to glue that in place. Use some super glue for that. And the last part is the forward sight. Will go into that slot right there. And I will do the same, just super glue that in place. Just like that. So that's what they look like there. And that looks good so far. And that completes stage 56. Let's get started on stage 57. Stage 57, fitting the air cleaner and pan magazine. Here's a close-up of those parts. Here's the air cleaner. All these parts here on top are for the air cleaner, and then the bottom parts are for the magazine. Looks like the bracket, the mount bracket for the magazine and gun is made of metal. Everything else here is plastic. CM, RP, and CP screws. Bring over the firewall. We're going to install this mount bracket here for the air cleaner. We have an alignment pin on the bottom, and on the top will be where our screw goes in. That will be a CM screw. We're going to line that up just like that. And you can see the CM screw is installed. I used some 3-in-1 oil for that. Next, I'm going to assemble the air cleaner, and that's what that looks like there. So it looks like we have a cutout that matches that right there. So that's going to go on just like that, and we're going to put our CP screw into that. And then we have a cap that goes down on top of that. It does have an alignment tab, so just pay attention to that. And the cap is in, it was press fit in place. Next, the air cleaner will get mounted on that bracket we put in a little bit ago, just like that. 2 CP screws will hold that in place. And there you go, both screws were installed. Don't over tighten them, because remember, you are going into plastic, just nice and snug. That's what that looks like there. Looks great. Now we'll begin on the pan magazine. We're going to install this part here on top. There's an alignment pin, so it only goes on one way. Just like that. And an RP screw goes into that from the bottom side there. Just till it's snug. That's how that looks, and that's how that looks. Next, we'll install this little handle, and it just goes in these 2 holes on each side, just like that. So you can see the handle folds. Looks good. Bring over the bottom of the barrel magazine, and we're going to install this little piece here. It's a press fit. Just like that. And then these 2 pieces go together We want to line them up like they need to be. So there's a little notch there. It's even with that little bracket we just put in. Just like that. And that looks good. Now we'll bring over our gun and put that on top of the gun. That's this right here. And line that up. Okay, just like that. And that will press fit down on top. Give you an overall view. Looks great. And that completes stage 57. Let's get started on stage 58. Stage 58, fitting the machine gun mount and inserting cartridges. Here's a close-up of those parts. Here's our machine gun mount, made of metal. Very heavy duty actually. Another part of that mount, also made of metal. We have two reinforcement components that go on the interior of the Jeep. We have our cartridges, double-sided tape, CP and DM screws. Alright, we're going to install the left side reinforcement bracket. It has an L on it. Note that there's a little tab here and two mounting points from underneath. We're going to go ahead and take and mount that tab onto the firewall. It just inserts right there. And then two CP screws will get installed from the bottom side. And both those screws are in and tight. And you can see how that bracket looks. And on the right side, this bracket goes in much the same way. Just like that. Two CP screws from the bottom. And there they are. That's what that looks like there. Looks great. Next, going to assemble the machine gun mount. We have this bracket here and the mount itself. Remember, both of these are metal. So we want to make sure that these circles that are here are going to be on the bottom. So we're just going to slide that through. Just like that. And we're going to take a part from the previous stage, stage 57. We're going to put that on top. And a DM screw will go into that. I used a little bit of oil. 3-in-1 oil for that. Maybe just a little more. And good. Okay. That's what that looks like there. Now we're going to go ahead and mount this to the front left fender with two more DM screws. Alright, I brought over the Jeep chassis. Been a little while since we've seen that. Just as a reminder, when you're handling this chassis, try not to touch the exhaust system. That's all plastic. That can actually break off in your hand. And try not to put too much weight down on the chassis itself. Always try to support the chassis while you're installing screws and such on that. That way you put undue stress on those axles. Now we're going to go ahead and mount this machine gun mount to the left fender, and then that's going to go over here on the left side, and we're going to put two screws in it to secure it. Let me show you a close-up of that. And we're just going to insert this rod into that bracket, just like that, and line up our two holes on top of the fender and put two DM screws into that. Line that up, just like that. And two DM screws go in on top here. And like I said, I supported the fender off my mat to get a better bite with those screws, but they are tight. That's what that looks like there. Looks great. Next, we're going to bring over our Vickers machine gun, and we're going to take the top off of it We're going to put some double-sided tape down and install our cartridges. Put our tape down inside here, and you can see the tape is in there. Need to pull off the backing taper for that. And left the tape in there, you can see that. Now we'll go ahead and cut off our cartridges off the tree and install those. And all but 4 got cut off the tree. And all the cartridges were installed, just like that. And we'll go ahead and put our cap back on. Just like that. And that completes stage 58. Let's get started on stage 59. Stage 59, adding fixtures to the dashboard. Here's a close-up of those parts. This is the dashboard. Very nice, made of metal. The graphics is very nice for the instruments there. Also received the steering wheel, steering column mount. That's very nice there. We'll talk more about that. I'm missing a couple of parts here. They're very tiny hooks. They look to be made of plastic. 59C. So I did put a request in to Agora, and I'm sure I'll get those parts real soon. It's not a killer. I can go ahead and continue on with the build without those. Let's get started. Next, I'll install the steering column mount to the bottom of the dashboard here. Now this mount has a side that has a narrow hole and a side that has a wide hole. So the narrow hole faces towards us, towards the dashboard. Install that with 2 SM screws. And that's what that looks like there. Both screws are tight. I did use 3-in-1 oil for that. Next, those little hooks get installed right here on this side and on this side. It's not a killer. We can put those in a little bit later. Those hooks, I believe, are for the windshield clamping down mechanism. And if I remember right, we don't have a windshield for this Jeep. That completes stage 59. Let's get started on stage 60. Stage 60, fitting the glove box. Here's a close-up of those parts. We received a bracket for the jerry cans. That's very cool there. All the parts for the glove box. DM, ADM, and AP screws. I'm going to go out of sequence here and install the handle for the glove box first. So that's going to go through the hole here, the handle. On the other side, the little latch mechanism will go on top of that, and then our AP screw goes in on that. And you can see the handle latch is installed. It is designed to go in and out. The screw is in all the way. Looks good. Next, I'll install the hinge on the door, and this piano hinge simply goes on like that. And then we'll put this plastic over the top, and 2 AP screws will hold that down. And both AP screws are in. Looks good. Now we'll bring over the glove box itself. We're going to mount that onto the dashboard. Bring over the glove box, and we'll mount that onto those 2 tabs right there, and 2 DM screws will lock that down. Both screws are installed. A little 3-in-1 oil was used on both. That's what that looks like. Now we'll go ahead and mount our door onto the bottom. And 2 AP screws were used for that. Looks good. Next, I brought over the hood. We're going to install this bracket here for the jerry cans on the back of the hood, and 2 ADM screws will hold that down. And you can see both screws were installed, one right there and one right there. And that completes stage 60. Let's get started on stage 61. Stage 61, fitting the dashboard. Here's a close-up of those parts. We've received this LED harness for the dashboard instruments, 2 micro switches, a mounting bracket for those, the dashboard lights cover, and some handles and some C-clips here, SM, JM, and QM screws. Alright, we're going to install one of our micro switches, the 61i, and turn this over, and that's going to mount into this slot right here. And 61J is going to go right beside it. It's another micro switch. We're going to put our mounting bracket on top of that to hold them in place, taking care that the switches are positioned carefully. And that mounting bracket, notice the notch there, that's going to be just like it shows, and it's going to go down on that. Hold those switches in place. 2 SM screws will hold that in. And both screws were installed. Make sure you don't over tighten those too much because it can put too much pressure on those switches. Just give your little micro switches a test. It's good there. Next, I have 2 eyelet brackets that need to get installed. One gets installed right here and one on the other side. Got one right there and one right there. They were just press fit in place. Next, on the left side of the dash, we have this shut-off switch that gets plugged into the dash. Just like that. That goes in next, just like that. Next, that handle goes in the dash right here. And we're going to put a C-clip in on it on the other side. And it was a little fiddly to do, but I got it on there. And the handle rotates. Next, I install the dashboard light housings. You can see that. See the 2 holes? They'll face down towards the gauges. We'll put a JM screw into that. There it is. And look at the other side. How that looks there. Next, we'll take our dashboard LED light harness and we're going to put that through that hole there. Just like that. And you can see that there. Now brought over the dashboard, we're going to plug those LEDs into the back here. But first, I'm going to take my micro switch harnesses and they're going to feed through the firewall. Just like that, because they got to go there anyway. And then I'll plug in my LEDs into the back here. Just like that. So those are plugged in. Now we're getting ready to mount our dashboard And that will plug in on top here, just like that. And all our wires are through. 2 QM screws will go into that. And both those screws were tightened down. They're tight. And I'm going to go ahead and take some tulip slick and I'm going to light block the back side of these LEDs for the dashboard lights. And there you go. They're light blocked with the tulip slick. You don't have to do that, but it's just my OCD kicking in. And there you go. That completes stage 61. Let's head over and do the final stage for this video, stage 62. Welcome back to stage 62, fitting the battery compartment and power switch. Final stage for this video. Here's a close-up of those parts. We have our battery compartment, which houses AAA batteries, the power switch, cover, switch mount, SM and DM screws. Brought over the main body, and that's looking down from the top. Here's our battery compartment, and it's going to mount down, straight down on top, just like that. We're going to put 2 screws into that, DM screws. Both screws are secured down. Now we're going to take our harness here, we're going to insert it through that hole. And we're going to mount our power switch into the opening right over here on the end. And it's a tight squeeze there. See that? 2 SM screws went into that. One right there and one right there. I'll turn this over. We'll give it a little test. Good. Next, we'll install this switch cover here, and that goes just down, just like that, from the top. 2 DM screws go into that. Both screws were installed. They look great, and that's all we do with this stage. I'll be right back. And there you go. That completes Pack 8. I'm having a blast building this. If you think you'd like to get this for yourself, head over to Agora Models and subscribe to this Jeep today. I put a direct link in the description below. You will not regret it. This is a fantastic build. Probably one of the best Jeeps out there. The British SAS North African Willys Jeep. With that, happy modeling everybody, and we will see you on Pack 9. Take care.
Tiny pieces in my hands, dreams of worlds in my command. Snapping, painting, building, true. Welcome to Scale Model Kit Review. Glue it down, sandy smooth, crafting magic with the groove. Planes and tanks, choose to Scale Model Kit Review.